I greet you all and welcome you to the lesson. Today's lesson is on resource mobilization. The topic is resource stewardship, and the subject is public sector governance, policy, and administration. Resource mobilization. What is the meaning of resource mobilization? Resource mobilization refers to the process by which governments and organizations obtain their financial resources that are necessary to fund the activities and achieve their objectives. So to resource mobilize is to obtain financial resources that are necessary to fund activities of the organization, whether it is a company or a government and so on. It involves both generating revenue and managing debt effectively. So the syllabus requires us to look at revenue. So in this lesson, we are going to outline the key sources of revenue for the government. Okay? Revenue. Where does the government get its revenue? Now, revenue is the income that is generated by a government or organization from various sources. And revenue is a critical and crucial component of resource mobilization because it provides the funds that are needed for public services, infrastructure development, and other essential expenditures. So, what are the key sources of revenue for the government? Revenue sources for the government. The first source is taxes. Taxes. Now, the primary source of revenue for most government is taxes. And taxes can be levied on various things like income. Tax can be levied on income of individuals or income of corporations. Income. Taxes on personal or corporate income is what we are referring to as income tax. Tax can also be levied on property. Property tax. These are taxes on real estate and other assets. Taxes can be levied on consumption. Consumption. Taxes on these are taxes on goods and services such as the VAT, sales tax, and so on. As individuals buy goods or services, they may as well pay for what we are calling consumption taxes like the VAT. Then we may also have taxes on other things, on specific activities or transactions like such as import tariffs, excise duties, import tariffs. We may have taxes on this is excise duty, and so on. So the main source of revenue for most governments is taxes, and we have identified on things that the government can levy tax: income, property, consumption, imports, and other areas like the import tariffs, the excise duty, and so on. Another source of revenue for government is fees and charges. Two, fees and charges. Fees and charges. Governments may charge fees for specific services that they provide, such as user fees. All right, user fees, such as a user fees. For example, government can levy fees on roads, what we call toll roads, public transportation, national parks, and so on. As citizens visit parks, they may pay some fees or charges. That's what we are referring to as user fees. We have license fees, licenses, licenses. These are licenses for businesses, licenses for drivers, licenses for professionals, and so on. That is a source of revenue to the government. Licenses. 3, permit fees. Permit fees. Permit fees. This is for construction. If you need to construct business buildings, you may be required to pay permit fees. That is a source of revenue to the government. All right, that is for construction or other activities. That's a source of revenue to the government. Permit fees. Then you have fines. Number 3, fines and penalties. Fines and penalties is a source of revenue to the government. Revenue can also be generated through fines imposed for violating laws, for violating regulations, and so on. Fines and penalties. Then we have 4, non-tax revenue. 4, non-tax revenue. The government may also raise money, but not from taxes, but from other sources. This includes income from government-owned enterprises like utilities, natural extraction, investments, or sale of assets. Sale of assets. The government can raise tax from natural resource extraction. The government can raise income or can raise income from government-owned enterprises, public corporations, and so on. Government-owned enterprises. Then we have grants and aid. Grants and aid. This is yet another source of revenue for the government. Governments may receive financial assistance from international organizations or other countries for specific projects or programs. So these are 5 main sources of revenue for the government. Revenue. Then let's move on to debt. Debt. Now, debt is another means of resource mobilization. It involves borrowing money from domestic or international lenders and repaying it with interest over time. And debt financing can be useful for funding large-scale investments such as infrastructure, social programs, and so on. And there are two main types of debt. There are two main types of debt. One is domestic debt. Domestic debt. Domestic debt involves borrowing from within the country, often through the issuance of government bonds or treasury bills. Then there is the second category, which is the external debt. Domestic debt is the internal debt. Then we have the external debt. External debt is a borrowing from foreign lenders, such as international institutions like the IMF, the World Bank, or even other countries. And debt has some challenges, like the sustainability. One challenge of debt financing is the sustainability of debt, debt sustainability, because excessive borrowing can lead to unsustainable debt levels, making it difficult for governments to repay their obligations and potentially leading to financial crisis. Another challenge of debt financing is debt servicing costs, and that include the interest payments on debt, which can consume significant portion of government revenue that may limit funds available for other essential expenditures. So those are two challenges. Another challenge is sovereign risk. If a government's ability to repay debt is questioned, it can face higher interest rates and limited access to credit. That's what we're referring to as the sovereign risk. And candidates, effective resource mobilization involves a balanced approach to revenue generation and debt management. It requires, one, an efficient tax system that is fair, that is transparent, and efficient, that can collect sufficient revenue to finance government activities. An efficient resource mobilization also requires diversification of revenue sources, because relying on a variety of revenue sources can reduce dependence on any single source and then also mitigate risk. So currently, that's all we can discuss today as far as resource mobilization is concerned. And we've outlined the revenue sources of government. We've categorized them into 5: taxes, fees and charges, fines and penalties, non-tax revenue, grants and aid. Before we take a break, here is your today's assignment. 1. What are the main sources of government revenue in Kenya, and how can the tax system be made more efficient and equitable? 2. What are the advantages and disadvantages of relying on domestic versus external debt for financing development projects? I repeat, what are the advantages and disadvantages of relying on domestic versus external debt for financing development projects? 3. How can Kenya ensure debt sustainability and avoid the risks associated with excessive borrowing? 4. What role does transparency and accountability play in ensuring that mobilized resources are used effectively for public benefit? Bye.